take a walk into the shadow dark of the mythic dungeon, because far be it from me to stop kicking a dead horse. And I've been thinking a lot about wandering monsters. And there is probably nothing that more definitively spearheads the idea of the mythical aspect, the nonsensical aspect of the unknown dungeon than wandering monsters. Where did that come from? Don't know. How come we haven't seen it before? Don't know. How come we never saw it again? I didn't roll that number, don't know. And why am I thinking about wandering monsters? Because in order to punish myself in preparation for Halloween, I have been watching all 8 seasons of Fear of the Walking Dead on Netflix. Thank you, AMC and Netflix, for lowering my IQ. Now, I find this TV show and its predecessor, The Walking Dead, very cathartic because I'm constantly yelling at the TV over how stupid people are. How are you? And like most people who watch the shows, I vote for the zombies. My favorite character is Al's Van. And the one thing that is ever present in this series is the mystical abilities for zombies to appear in the most unlikely spaces. One of my favorite scenes in The Walking Dead, for just sheer stupidity, I don't remember which character it was. It might have been Shane, or it might have been the old guy. I don't know, somebody who deserved to die. Anyways, they're in a flat field like this. Just far as I can see, it's just flat. There is absolutely no place a zombie could be hiding. The camera pans to follow our hero's POV as he's looking around. And when he looks back this way, suddenly there's zombies. Not just 1 or 2 zombies. There's like 80 of them. Where did they come from? They weren't there a second ago. They just appeared out of nowhere. And moving forward to last night, where I'm watching, I think I'm in season 4 of Fear of the Walking Dead. Our primary protagonist has gone into a house. There are zombies, Walking Dead, in the house. There's a picture on the wall that clearly says there are 4 people that lived in the house. Our protagonist then proceeds to kill 4 Walking Dead and takes each body outside to make sure that she's cleared the room. Then she goes into the kitchen. She goes through the kitchen. We see the kitchen. She looks at the cans of food. She takes a can of food. She turns around, walks back into the dining room, puts the can of food on the table. She hears a noise behind her. She turns around. There is a 5th zombie coming through the kitchen door towards her. Where did that zombie come from? Because she was just in the kitchen. Wandering monster. Obviously, when you think about it, the only rational explanation for the sudden appearance of these creatures in this TV show is wandering monsters. The DM, i.e. the writers, rolled on the let's place our protagonists in peril table, i.e. the wandering monster table. They rolled to check whether there were wandering monsters or not on a D6, 1 through 3 yes, 4 through 6 no. They roll 1, oh, there's wandering monsters. How many? I don't know. There's 7 wandering monsters. They weren't, where were those 7 before? Doesn't matter. Who's that 5th zombie? Doesn't matter. But that 5th zombie wasn't in that room a second ago. Doesn't matter. It's wandering monsters. Doesn't have to explain. And we can yell and scream at how utterly stupid the rules of the Walking Dead universe are, and how utterly stupid the characters seem to become, and how none of the characters remain consistent or follow any normal logical thought patterns of people in the situation. No, we can, instead of embracing the frustration, dip into the shadow dark of the mythic dungeon, as it says, and explore the wonder, frustration that is wandering monsters. because the only thing that can explain the unexplained phenomenon of zombies teleporting in out of nowhere is wandering monster tables. Our character, now let's move to a dungeon and a typical wandering monster characters. Our heroes are wandering around in dungeon. They've cleared out a few rooms. They are experienced enough to know to mark the rooms they've already been in. Maybe they even spiked the doors open to make sure nothing snuck up on them, or spiked the doors shut to make sure nothing snuck on them. They're going down a hallway, okay? So our characters know that there is absolutely nothing in this hallway. There's nothing behind them because they've cleared out all the rooms. There's nothing in front of them as far as the eye can see. There is absolutely no way anything could attack them, except the rules say check for wandering monsters every 4 rounds. And the DM's timer has gone off. It's been 4 rounds. He rolls his wandering monster check. He has a success. 1 through 3, yes. 4, 5, 6, no. Yes. He rolls the wandering monster table. The wandering monster table ranges from things that would make sense. Well, I'm in the tomb of the dead guy, so I assume some of the wandering monsters would be other dead guys. And as you get lower in the wandering monster table, there's things that make less sense. Why is there a giant fly demon? I don't know. It's the same hit die as the undead, but it's on the table. So he rolls, and our DM rolls, I don't know, a 12. And we consult the 1d20 table for wandering monsters, and it's 8 goblins. Why are there 8 goblins? I don't know, because they're the same hit die as the undead, and they're on the table. Where did they come from? Doesn't matter. The players are walking down the hallway, suddenly goblins. Goblins, we've never encountered goblins before in the tomb of the dead guy. There is no mention of goblins. It has been dead people. We've cleared out every room behind us. There's absolutely no way the goblins could sneak up on us. Where did they come from? Did they just fall from the sky? Wandering monsters. The wandering monster is the pinnacle of the idea that we are constantly addressing in regards to the mythical dungeon. It is the tip of the iceberg that Lex Luthor, the basic expert, based his thing on. That Gary Gygax says, a decent dungeon should have 12 levels. Why 12? I don't know. And that dungeon should be filled with wandering tables. And the lower you get, the more bizarre the encounters are, because they should match the relative toughness of the level and the relative toughness of the characters, assuming that as they're progressing down the levels, they are getting tougher and tougher and tougher, so that when they get to level 5, they are ready to fight level 5 monsters. But when you go through the level 5 table of wandering monsters, very few of the things on the table make sense for the level of the dungeon. Now, you could justify them, you could change the wandering monster table, or you could do as Gygax has done, and most dungeons have done since time immemorial, and run with it. And then try and explain it later. Why is there a shark? Why is there a 15-foot shark in a 10 by 10 room? Wandering monster. Why are there 35 bugbears in a 15 by 15 room? Where are they? You can't fit 35 people in a 15 by 15 room unless they're all laying down on the floor stacked on top of each other. The math doesn't work. Gygax, wandering monsters. They just teleport in. They just teleport in. The Walking Dead universe and all the other TV shows and movies that are embrace the same wackadoodle mechanics, the mystical aspect of this universe, rely on you accepting the fact that even if our protagonist is standing in an empty field where there is nothing to see for miles, 80 zombies will just appear out of nowhere. And that's okay, because that's the rules of the universe. And we've agreed that we're going to watch this show. We're going to agree we're going to play this game. We've agreed to the rules of the universe. Anybody who doesn't agree can turn the channel, right? I don't agree to the rules of The Walking Dead. It's stupid. If I want to watch something scary, I want to watch something scary that makes sense. Like Showgirls. If I'm in a dungeon and I accept the fact that there's gonna be wandering monsters in the dungeon, and for some reason, the farther I get from the entrance, the weirder the tables get. Why is there an ice elemental? I am nowhere near ice. There is nothing on this level that would lead me to believe that we'd be running into ice elementals. Where did it come from? Doesn't matter, wandering monster. Look, there's a teeny tree growing out of the big tree. Wandering monster. That is the precipice of the iceberg that Basic Expert and I base our argument on. Now, I'm not going to go the same, well, Gygax says, Gygax planned ahead, Gygax had some supernatural powers to predict 50 years into the future and created an engine for social change. That's J. Scott Garibay insanity. But I will again agree that if the premise of the Wandering Monster tables is it doesn't have to make sense, the premise of The Walking Dead or Van Helsing or any of these other horror, drama, soap opera TV shows is we accept that as part of the rules, these things are just going to appear out of nowhere. It doesn't matter if there weren't any before. It is an established part of the rules. And as long as we've all agreed at the table to play by these rules, that's the make-believe we want to agree upon, then it's okay. We all agree upon we're going through a Gygaxian 12-level Shadow Dark mystical dungeon, and the deeper we go, we're going to run into things that make no sense. For every goblin that we run into in the Goblin Warrens, hey, we're in a goblin level, so of course we're going to run into goblins and goblin friends. We also accept that on that table of 20 encounters, there's a couple things that don't make sense because they're the same hit dice, or, you know, just because Gygax was smoking dope or whatever, man. Goblin. Whale. Goblins. Wait, whale? Same hit dice. Whale. Where did the whale come from? Doesn't matter. Does it just Hitchhiker's Guide fall from the sky? Do you know how much water you need to keep a whale alive? It doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Wandering Monster. Where did those zombies come from? I cleared out the room. I made sure there were no zombies in every room of the house. I sit down for a second, there's a brand new zombie. Where did that zombie come from? Wandering Monster. If we accept the dungeon has a Wandering Monster table, if we agree that that is part of the make-believe rules we are all going to play with our silly little game of goblins with sticks, then we don't have to justify the presence. The rules of the Fear of the Walking Dead clearly state we do not have to justify the presence or offer any explanation as to how that monster got there when just seconds ago the hallway was empty. It's just there. Now you can bibbly-bopply-boob argue your way up the hill of why that argument makes no sense. Gygax was wrong. Basic Expert's wrong. I'm wrong. It has to make sense. And I will argue in response, Dungeons and Dragons is a silly game about goblins with sticks in a world where there's magic. So you're perfectly fine with elves, you're perfectly fine with flying horses, you're perfectly fine with wizards that can cast spells, you're perfectly fine with dragons, you're perfectly fine with magic items, you're perfectly fine with genies and animated dead. But you draw the line on wandering monsters because they don't make sense. But all that other shit, well, that makes sense. Fuck this Shadow Dark shot. Fuck this mythic dungeon. Fuck the unknown. You don't know what you're talking about, OGGM. In closing, your game, your rules, right? If you are lucky enough to find one other person, much less 3 other people, who in this day and age can somehow carve out enough free time for a 3-hour game once a month, you, my friend, are blessed and you should appreciate it. And whatever the group agrees upon, run with it. Run with it for as long as you can. Make sure you're having fun and they're having fun, because you do not know when or if that will happen again. It is fucking impossible to get a group together these days. And it's only going to get more and more difficult. So God love you if you can get a group. And if the group says, yeah, we're perfectly fine with the Walking Dead rules for Wandering Monsters, we're perfectly fine with Gygaxian Mythic Dungeon, we're perfectly fine with justifying that we are in the Shadow Dark and things don't have to make sense, roll the Wandering table. Just make sure it's got stuff. Then, hey, we're playing make-believe. These are the rules of the make-believe we agreed upon. We can't be playing make-believe wrong. Go for it. Why is there a shark? Because there's a shark. Where did that zombie come from? I mean, literally, there's a scene where the guy's in a truck. The truck is empty. There's like 1 box. And yet somehow, 2 minutes later, zombie. Where did that zombie come from? Was it hiding behind the box? The zombie would have had to be 2 feet tall to hide behind the box. It would have had to be scrunched down and being like Solid Snake level of stealth, hiding behind the box for the protagonist to miss the fact that there was a zombie in the truck with him. And yet, there it is. Does he yell and scream and go, oh, damn, no? No, that's the audience. We yell and scream. He just accepts it. Wandering monster, zombie, okay, I'll deal with it. Maybe it'll have some stuff. Maybe it'll kill me. It's part of the rules. I accept it. I accept the rules of this make-believe. Every other player at my table accepts the rule of the make-believe. We have all agreed on Wandering Monsters following the rules of The Walking Dead. God love it, let's go. So those are my thoughts on the shadow darking of the Mythic Dungeon and the Wandering Monsters, because I think the one linchpin, if we're gonna have one single linchpin that defines the fact that dungeons are wackadoodle and don't make sense, it's Wandering Monster tables. Even if the Wandering Monster table 100% fits the scenario, we're in a mine. The only Wandering Monsters we're gonna encounter are miners. There's still the fact that the table generates more miners than there actually are in the mine. Where are those extra miners coming from? This room was empty. The sky? No, it's Wandering Monsters, and we accept that. If you agree with the nonsense that's coming out of my mouth, let me know. If you disagree with the nonsense that's coming out of my mouth, let me know. If you think I should just let this topic die and move on to talking about superheroes, let me know. If you want to talk about the stupid topic some more, let me know. Generally, let me know. Let me know what you want to see, because I'm here for you guys. This is your channel. The only way I'm going to get 2,000 subs is if I get 2,000 people that want to see stuff I'm showing. And the only way that's going to happen is if you tell me what you want to see. Oh, damn zombie! Fooled you. Talk to you later. See ya.